Hi everybody! Today I'm going to show you my little travel studio that I took with me on our recent trip to Alabama. It was a 15-hour drive. We split it in 2 days, but it was still a lot of time in the car sitting there. So I figured I'll paint on the way, which I didn't do a lot because the scenery, guys, was really amazing. So I didn't do a lot of painting. But when I did do a little bit of painting, this is the setup I used. And I just kind of figured out this setup literally like the day before we left because I needed something small, portable that I could like throw in my backpack. Or just, keep on my lap in the car because I don't want a whole bunch of stuff because I have little kids. We have to stop at rest stops, pretty much at every other rest stop. So it's a lot of moving, and then I would have to take everything off my lap and put it away and get the kids and hand them stuff to the back and, like doing all that kind of stuff. I needed something that was going to be easy and I could quickly just throw stuff in and put it away. Now, I was going to purchase one of these Gorilla things. I'll put a picture of it right here. One of these Gorilla, what are they called? Padash boxes? Whatever you call them. That would have been perfect, but I was not going to drop $100 on something that I was maybe going to use once. So I found this box at home, and I'm going to show you where I got it. It is a puzzle box that I get for my kids, full of puzzles. I don't have the image with the puzzles. I'll show you another one when I go find it. But when you open it up, it opens like this. It just slides off. And there was one more, but there's always these dividers, and there's always like puzzles here for kids. So I just like rip these out. They're not very sturdy. You can see they kind of bend. So you just rip them out. I just ripped them out. And that way I could fit all my stuff in. This one is not that big. I will show you how big this one is. Some of them, like this one, is the same width and height, but it's a little bit longer. So some of them have different sizes depending on which puzzle you get. And I'll link to the puzzle that I got on Amazon, and you guys can check it out. It's only like $10. So even if you don't have kids, donate the puzzles to your neighbors and then keep the box if you want it. So this one's about almost 12, like 11 3/4 of an inch by 9, like edge to edge. So on the inside, it's a tiny bit smaller, but it fits everything I needed here. And I chose to do gouache for the trip because, like I said, it's easy. I don't have to worry about washing brushes that well, because if I was using oils or acrylics, if acrylics dry on your brush, it's ruined. And I've ruined plenty of brushes. So I chose to do gouache because I wasn't going to have a lot of space to wash my brushes. So I did this palette thing. I don't know what it is. It's a palette. It's a watercolor palette or wash palette or makeup palette. I got this on Amazon. Like, again, it was very cheap. And I just put some of these gouaches inside of there. So I just squeezed out each tube into each little square because I was going to take this whole thing, which would have been great as well. Very portable. It has a lid. It has the palette right here. But again, I wanted everything in one box. I was kind of obsessed with the stupid box. So this fits in here, but this was kind of at an angle, and I didn't want it at an angle. So if this was just a tiny bit smaller, I would have just taken this whole thing. But I wanted to take as little as possible. So here they are. Now these are wet in here, so they do kind of slide if they were vertical for a long time, like in my backpack. So this was usually kept out of the box if I was like walking around with it in my backpack. Most of the time it just stayed in my car. Or if I put it in the backpack, I would put it on the bottom like this, and then the box on top like that. But it does fit in here nicely. So I have some paper towels to wipe brushes. I only took like 3 or 4 brushes with me because I didn't really need any more. And I lined the bottom with palette paper. which is this right here. If you are not familiar with it, it's paper that's very smooth for mixing your paint. This one is a new one, but you get the point. So I just tore a sheet out. I just stuffed it in here. I did start painting this white, but then it's kind of shiny white. I wanted it white for pictures, but whatever. I never finished it. We had to go on the trip, and I was still messing around with this. So I just put a couple sheets of palette paper in here. I put a few sheets in just so I can change them out if I needed any new ones. And that was it. Oh, and a tiny little sketchbook. This is a watercolor sketchbook by this brand. I have no idea how to pronounce this. I will link to this exact one on my Amazon down below. So I did like a couple little sketches on the trip, not many. I just kind of played around, and I did this one, and I will show you the video, and you can see this little box in action. So everything fits in here nicely. Now again, if you do watercolor, you can just take one of these little things with you and just keep it in there and it'll fit. But this way I was able to paint like this in the car. I think I had it turned around this way in the car, so the lid would slide off this way. I would attach it. You can attach it with like a clip, like a big paper clip too, so it doesn't move on you. So you can attach it with a paper clip and it doesn't move, but I just kind of had it on my knees like that, and then I would take the lid off and just throw it on the floor or on the side of my door, like that. I had my colors right here. I had the paper, I think it was tucked in there, like that, and then I would like paint, wipe off my brush and paint here. So all of this was on my lap, and then when the kids had to go to the bathroom or they wanted a snack and I had to like reach over into the back and help them out, I could easily just throw it in here, close this if it was dry. If it wasn't dry, I would just close that up, deal with them, and then come back. Or I would close this, obviously, if I didn't want this to dry out. Oh, one more thing. I had my little spray bottle. This is small enough where, again, it fits into here. So once I was done painting, was able to fit in here nicely, close it up, and I could just like leave it on my seat if we went to like eat somewhere, or you know, leave it on the dashboard if it wasn't too hot. But usually I would leave it on the bottom, like under my seat, because I didn't want my paint and everything to melt because it was really hot. But that's it. This is my little tiny box, and this cost me $10, guys. The box with the puzzles cost $10. I know because I ordered one yesterday and it's coming today, and I will add to this video when I get it so you guys can see what the puzzles inside look like and stuff. Alright, so how did I wash brushes? In this cup right here. I had another water bottle next to me that had like a wide opening. It wasn't just like a tiny little water bottle opening, you know, the part you drink out of. It had like a wider opening so I could put my brushes in there, but I switched out to this, and I took an X-Acto knife and I cut the lid like that. Whoops. This is how you stay cheap, guys. I just cut the lid. I think I cut this out. I don't have the cup with me. It's in the car, and I don't have the card today. So I did that. I literally did this to a coffee cup, and I had it in the side of my door, and I didn't fill it up all the way. And if you want to, you can keep this on, so kind of splash guard, basically. You can keep this on a little bit. But this is what I had, and I would just, you know, switch my brush around and then wipe it off here. And then I had more paper towels like on the side of my door in the car. That way I could just clean the brush a little bit. But with these gouaches, like I said, I wasn't cleaning the brush super well. I just needed to rinse some color off. So coffee cup worked very well for that. Oh, I probably had like, I did take another thing with me. I just took this and I had this, you know, just laying around. I had like pencils and pens and erasers and stuff like that in there, but that was just like for when I needed it, and that was away. But you can throw a pencil in here as well. One more thing I had in here was just a little thing of washi tape to like tape out edges if I needed any. So again, another little tiny thing that just fits in here nice and snug. So that was it. That's all I took for my trip. I love my little setup. I hope this helps you guys in case you need a little setup like this on the go and quickly and cheaply. Thanks guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week for another little video. And I have a new mini painting class coming up. We're going to be painting little minis. If you guys are familiar with my 100-day challenge, I paint little minis every day, stuff like that. So I will be teaching you guys how to paint your own little mini landscape in my new class. So check it out. It's coming out June 22nd. I hope. Keep my fingers crossed. But sign up for my newsletter or follow me on Instagram and you'll get notified when it's up. It will be on Skillshare. You can go check it out there. And that's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching.